How do we know that the Jesus we see on the pages of Scripture today is actually the Jesus that really existed? Maybe Jesus was a lot simpler, and then over time it was distorted. By the time you get to some church council, they make a decision about who Jesus really is or what he... How do we trust any of that? How do we know that what we have in the Bible today is the same gospel, the same text, the same Jesus that was originally written? Well, there's a way to actually test that, right? We do this in criminal trials all the time. I'll present a piece of evidence in trial, and sure enough, the question will be, how do I know, Jim, that casing you presented in the trial that has a little extractor pin mark on it, how do I know that was actually at the crime scene? For all I know, you took it out of property 10 years later and etched in the extractor pin mark, and now you're saying that his gun made that mark. Well, how do I know that? It could have been made later. In a similar way, couldn't there be a simpler Jesus who didn't do all these miracles, didn't rise from the grave, wasn't born of a virgin, and these elements are added later to the story, and by the time we get to the council, well, we don't even know what's true because it's been distorted so well. Here's how we solve it in criminal trials. We ask the question, was there an officer there at the beginning who saw that in the crime scene? And if he saw it, did he write a report about it? Oh, he did? Did he write the report and did he mention the extractor pin mark? Oh, he did. And then when he gave it to the next officer, did that officer receive it and write another report in which he also mentions the extractor pin mark? And does that happen over and over and again over the 30 years this thing went on until finally we get to trial and I've got a number of reports, one after the other, like links in a chain? That is called the chain of custody. There's a chain of custody for the New Testament. We know that the story of Jesus hasn't been changed because we can actually trace it through history. We know what John said in the beginning because we know who his personal students were. Ignatius, Polycarp, Papias. We have their writings. We can see, hey, what did John tell you about Jesus? Those writings still exist. And they had a student, Irenaeus. We can see if Irenaeus repeated what they said, and Irenaeus' student, Hippolytus. And we can do this for several different key witnesses of the Gospels, key witnesses of Jesus, and we can trace that chain of custody over time. And guess what you're going to find out? No, that extractor pin mark was not added later. It was there all along. And know that detail about Jesus that you're concerned about. Is he really divine? Was he really born of a virgin? Did he really work those miracles? Did he really die on a cross and rise from? Did he really ascend into heaven? Every one of those details is not only ancient, but it's repeated over and over and over again in the chain of custody. So we know with certainty that the Jesus we see on the pages of Scripture today is the same one described by the original eyewitnesses. Nothing has been distorted.